Good morning to you. It's great to be here to start off another week as we launch into the area's only live, local talk and entertainment show, Virginia This Morning. I'm Andrea Swipe-Murdaugh, and I'm delighted to be here with the one and only Amy Lacey. I hope you had a great weekend.
I did have a great weekend, already also having a great morning.
Oh,
so
yes.
It's wonderful to share part of it with you, part of it with all of you who are sitting hopefully at home enjoying today's weather, because we were just talking, I think it's going to be in for a rude awakening, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm hoping Tom will bring us up to speed on that, because I am not prepared for jacket weather just yet.
I know. I don't even really remember which jackets I have to wear this time of year, so I'll have to do that after work today.
Well, it's funny because I took some time to go through the kids' closets over the weekend and like formally switch them out. And then, as Tom told us on Friday, it was warm.
Yes, it
so
was.
You're all conflicted. Is now the time? Should I wait? And then as I was looking forward, oh, wait a minute, it might be that time.
I think it might be that time.
Yeah.
So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And as we go through the week, of course, we're going through it all together. That change of the season.
That's right. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. And, you know, settling into fall.
Yeah, it's a great
here.
season. It's pumpkin spice season after all.
There you go. There you go. Well, she loves educating the public on how to cook elevated dishes sustainably using local farm fresh goods. She's a private chef, on-camera host for a Richmond-based cooking show, and community organizers. Gianna Stanley is here to walk us through the steps on creating a creamy mushroom risotto. It's on today's Virginia This Morning menu, and we can't wait to try it.
That is a tasty menu. Also, get ready for a fun and funky fashion show. The Richmond Really Sews organization is looking forward to the Richmond Frock Tales 2024 fundraiser. This great family-friendly event celebrates sewists, friends, and guests. Karen Keach-Swerling is the founder, and she's here with a mini fashion show later on today's show. We absolutely love fashion here on Virginia This Morning.
And frock tails. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That sounds like my kind of party. All right. The Epilepsy Foundation of Virginia is hosting its annual Tour to Midnight charity bike ride this weekend, and you're invited. Dr. Stacy Epps, president of the foundation, is in studio today and will share all the details.
Right now is a great time to check in with CBS 6 meteorologist Tom Patton with a look at the local forecast. Tom, I think those elephant ears might be coming to a sad end this week.
Well, they're going to need, I think they may stick around for the week. I don't think we'll lose them this week. And if we can survive this week, I think we'll be okay next week. We'll see.
Okay, good.
But they take a pretty hard freeze, but I don't plan on having it much more than a couple more weeks. But man, they're almost cartoony. They're so enormous out here. They're beautiful though, and I admire them every day. So there you go.
They have their own personalities at this point, Tom.
They do.
It looks like they're what, at least 5 feet?
Well, you're assuming that I would be 6.5 feet tall, which I'm nowhere near. So I think some of these, you probably can't see it, are probably pushing 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 6'4".
Wow.
They're pretty darn tall, I know.
I told you they get to be like beanstalks.
Yes, they do. And now,
Magical.
ladies, you were all excited a couple weeks ago about fall and pumpkin spice and all this, and now you're saying, I don't know where my jackets are.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
We're not saying we took the time to get prepared, Tom. We're just,
we just
commenting that it was coming. It's exciting to have a little change, but when the rubber meets the road,
attractive, you know, but it's not like I know where the sweaters are.
No.
Okay.
I'm quite ready to wear them.
no, we're not prepared. You, at that time, you did not say, hey, it's time. So if you're saying that now, then perhaps
It's time.
we'll get ready.
My time, yes, it's probably time, I'd say. Especially the next couple of days. We're going to get down to the 30s probably over the, not quite tomorrow morning, but a few mornings by midweek. Let's show you what's going on. Beautiful blue skies right now. A little cold front kind of moving through today. And it's going to be a little bit breezy. The trees are moving a little bit now, nothing crazy. Winds west at 8 miles an hour. 67 degrees at the airport. We have 60s all through the metro. So there you go. Everybody's pretty mild this morning. This will probably be the warmest morning that we'll have over the next, at least through the weekend. That's what next weekend, that's what it's looking like. Mostly sunny, breezy. Now, I say cooler because we're going to be cooler than the past weekend when we saw the 80s. Partly cloudy, breezy tonight. And right now you can see a little line of clouds off to the west. That's part of this frontal boundary coming through. So that's going to bring some cooler air. And then another little disturbance will be coming through, bringing another shot of some cooler air for us, and we'll be wide open then to some chilly air with big old Canadian high pressure kind of moving down, and it's going to keep us rather chilly for a few days here. So today low 70s, which is normal. Tomorrow's cold air, we'll see more clouds, will become mostly cloudy. Could be enough to produce a sprinkle or a light shower anytime from afternoon through evening. High pressure settles in Wednesday, and we're going to be sunny, breezy, and chilly. Look at these nights. We have some 30s, and that's the airport prediction. You know, if you're just outside of the airport, it's going to get even colder than that. So we're thinking some frost will be possible by midweek. Not tonight, but probably as we go into maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, there'll be some folks with some frost. Warmer next weekend. All right, Virginia This Morning will continue after this.
Welcome to the area's only live local talk and entertainment show, Virginia This Morning. It's Monday, October 14th, and we're glad that you are joining us today for part of your morning. I'm Amy Lacey here with Andreas White-Murdaugh. We are having a fabulous Monday.
That's right. We are having a fabulous Monday, and it is always a great time when the A-Team and Amy and Andreas are together. We have another full hour of programming, so we're going to jump right on in. And if today is your first time watching the show, welcome. We hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Just before the break, we shared a few highlights, some of what's coming up on today's show. So here's a quick recap.
Well, today she is making her debut in the Virginia This Morning kitchen. She's an on-camera host for a Richmond-based cooking show, a private chef, a cooking school instructor, and a community organizer. Gianna Stanley is here and will make her signature mushroom risotto. We're getting our spoons on standby and we're ready to sample later on in today's show.
We sure are. Well, she is a veteran Hollywood costume designer and fashion professor who founded Richmond Really Sews. She's excited about the upcoming Richmond Frocktails 2024 fundraiser. Karen Keach Swirling is here and brought along some models for a mini fashion show. They will strike a pose. Still to come on our live show.
That makes me want to do like an old-fashioned Vogue kind of a thing. Strike
I love
pose.
it. I love it.
But wait, there's more. You may be interested in this fun annual event. Take a look.
This segment is sponsored by Pumpkin for Kids Project, benefiting Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU.
Pumpkin for Kids is an annual event benefiting Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU. Today, Rachel Dare from the organization joins us to share more about this year's event. It's so great to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Tell us what this event is.
Okay, so the Pumpkin for Kids project is it's basically pumpkin. I deliver pumpkin to each company. It's Richmond's largest corporate pumpkin painting contest. So the companies just basically decorate these lavish, crazy pumpkins, and it's a huge contest. Prizes for the winners.
I understand that it started out with just 3 participants. It has now grown to about 50, maybe even more. How did that happen over the years?
Well, I had a friend in Ohio that it's just said, we were trying to come up with new ideas to get businesses, build relationships with businesses, and she said, why don't we deliver one pumpkin to a couple companies and have them paint them and then deliver to the Children's Hospital. And then ever since then, I've just grown it to 50. I think the second year we had 10, then 20, and now we're just, it has legs, and it's just so much fun. Everybody wants to be a part of it.
So these pumpkins, what happens to them? After they're painted, they go to the hospital. Talk to us about how that uplifts the kids.
Yes, so the top 10 pumpkins go to the Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU, and then we do, Sheehy Lexus of Richmond and Sheehy Ford of Richmond are combining together this year. They deliver it to other local hospitals as well, Chippenham Pediatric Unit, Johnston Willis, and we also deliver to several senior living facilities as well. And then, so the pumpkins, they just bring smiles to all over Richmond, really, so.
How many companies participated last year, and what are projections for this time around?
Right at 50 last year participated, and we're expecting at least 50 more. Right now we're at 30, usually the last 2 weeks right before pumpkin delivery, which is the first or the second week of October, companies start jumping on. So I've already got 30, so I'm really excited to see what this year brings.
Of course, like most events, it would not be possible without sponsors. Any sponsors that you would like to acknowledge and thank for their support?
Gosh, there's so many. Wegmans, definitely. Wegmans donates one of the prizes. They donate all of the pumpkins. And then Fine Creek Brewery, they're hosting the event this year and hopefully for many years to come. Sheehy Lexus of Richmond, Sheehy Ford of Richmond, P.F. Chang's, Fleming's 1933, Public House 1933, Maxey's, Napa. There's so many companies that participate. Tweed is another one. Virginia Diner, I was actually there yesterday. There's so many companies that participate. So
I'm just looking at this list too. I'm not sure if you said P.F. Chang's, Fleming's, Cheesecake Factory, Virginia Diner, Napa Kitchen, Maxey's, Public House 1933, Tweed, Sheehy Ford of Richmond, Sheehy Lexus of Richmond, Wegmans, Fine Creek Brewery. My goodness, what a beautiful show of support for this program.
yes, it is amazing. Like I said, it keeps growing. So, and I never intended on raising money for the Children's Hospital. It was just to bring smiles by the decorated pumpkins. Now we raise quite a bit of money for them as well.
And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. It's a win-win for everyone.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming in here today and just sharing your magic about this project with us. It's a really special one.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Get ready for Richmond's largest corporate pumpkin painting contest. That's happening October 25th at 2 p.m. For more information, give the team a call at 804-564-5444 or visit the website facebook.com/pumpkin4kids. And stay with us. Virginia This Morning returns after a quick break. Welcome back to Virginia This Morning, live on CBS 6. The Epilepsy Foundation of Virginia is hosting its annual Tour to Midnight fundraising and awareness event.
Here to tell us more is Dr. Stacy Epps, president of the foundation. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks again for having us.
9 years
Yes.
of the Tour to Midnight.
Yes.
And you were excited to get started again this year. Not only just a bike ride, but an opportunity for awareness and advocacy.
Absolutely. So this is the foundation's largest fundraiser. It's also our largest awareness event. The foundation came about in 1978. Our mission is to raise awareness of epilepsy and people who deal with epilepsy, and then give direct assistance. And the funds raised here stay in Virginia to help those 85,000 Virginians who have epilepsy.
So this is a bike ride, and there are
Yes.
many different distances to attract folks of different levels of riding, but you don't even have to ride a bike to participate.
Oh, absolutely. So I haven't ridden a bike in 30 plus years. So there's a 30K, a 50K, and a 100K. They go out to Lake Anna and various parts of the countryside around Rockville. But if you don't ride, come on out anyway, because again, this is an awareness event. After the ride, we actually have food trucks, bands, craft beer by the Midnight Brewery. And it's really a time for people with epilepsy and their families to tell their story, how epilepsy has impacted them. We do seizure first aid training. So it's a fun day, it's an educational day, and it's a day of recognition.
Absolutely, and you have some of those heroes that, as you mentioned, are going to be telling their story, but telling why it's so important to be trained
Yes.
on things like that.
Oh, absolutely. It can be very scary to have someone have a seizure if you're not used to it. And you need to know what to do to keep that patient safe. You know, there are lots of myths around. You know, back in the day, they would say put a spoon in someone's mouth or never put anything in anyone's mouth. So we'll do that education for seizure first aid, but then we do have these heroes. And actually this year we have the president of the National Epilepsy Foundation, B. Martin Lee. She will be speaking. She's an epilepsy hero herself, and she will be out telling her story and you know, really telling the crowd why we need to be more aware of epilepsy and what we can do to help people.
I think that awareness is key. I remember, probably 15 years ago when I was working, one of my coworkers had a seizure.
Right.
And you know, if you there are different types of seizures. If you don't necessarily know what you are seeing happen, you don't know how to help. So just talking about this and letting people know is just so critical to saving people's lives.
Oh, absolutely. And 99% of the seizures are going to stop within 2 minutes, and we all are familiar with what we see on television or the movies where, people kind of stiffen, they start to shake all over, fall on the floor, foam at the mouth, maybe lose their water. But then there are other types of seizures where people will just kind of stop, have this behavioral arrest like that, and
that's
stare.
what happened in the case that I witnessed. You would not have known had she not told us what had happened.
Oh, absolutely. And that's, one of the things too is that there's this stigma surrounding people with seizure, right? They can't control it. They don't know when it's coming on. And again, it's frightening to other people. And that stigma needs to be removed, because people with asthma, there's no stigma there if they have an asthma attack. People who have diabetes and their blood sugar goes low, there's no stigma around that. So why are we singling out people with another medical disorder? And so education and awareness is the key to losing that stigma. And then, just as you said, learning how to make sure they're safe during a seizure. Even now, there are new nasal rescue medications that, if you and I were coworkers and I confided to you that, hey, I have a seizure, here's where I have my rescue medicine. If I have back-to-back seizures or I have a prolonged seizure, you could actually give me that medicine to prevent me from having to go to the emergency room, or perhaps having something bad happen to me as an outcome.
And that training and that communication in that moment can save lives or reduce the impacts of that medical event.
Oh, absolutely. If again, most seizures are going to stop on their own. But if you have a seizure that lasts for 4 minutes or longer, that's an emergency, right? And so that's why it's important for people to let their coworkers know that, and friends know that they have this disorder. But again, there is this feeling of embarrassment in that regard, and we need to get past that so that you can help people in need and do what needs to be done to make sure that they stay healthy.
Well, that is why we are talking about this today. We are breaking down those walls, and we are bringing this out to the forefront to help and save people's lives, improve their lives, and just get this conversation going more in our community.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here today and bringing it to Virginia this morning.
Thank you for having us.
The Epilepsy Foundation of Virginia presents the Tour to Midnight charity bike ride this Saturday, October 19th, beginning at 8 a.m. The ride will start from and return to the Midnight Brewery located at 2410 Granite Ridge Road in Rockville, Virginia. For more information, just visit virginiathismorning.com. And stay with us. We have more Virginia This Morning after the break.
Welcome back to our live Monday show. October is recognized as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The annual Making Strides Walk is coming up this Saturday. In this month's Buddy Check 6 report, CBS 6 anchor Reba Hollingsworth tells us why this walk means so much for one family.
For 23 years, Making Strides is back. Thousands of walkers would take over Moreau Park to Monument Avenue. It is one of the largest breast cancer awareness movements in the nation and Central Virginia.
And it's not a sad event, it's an exciting event.
Eileen Hobson was with Making Strides from the beginning, working for the American Cancer Society for 38 years.
I have loved it from the very beginning, even after I retired. I came back and volunteered.
Eileen remembers when Richmond modeled its first Making Strides walk after the one in Boston 23 years ago. She was in charge of logistics.
Very nervous. It was frightening because who knew that we would be able to get that many people out? This was something where we were trying to get 5,000 people to come out and walk in Byrd Park.
And they did. And Eileen hopes the Making Strides walk will get even bigger because of what comes out of it.
There were so many new changes, so many innovations, so much new science, so much new technology that came from events like Making Strides.
With all of Eileen's work with cancer, it hit even closer to home in 2023.
She had breast cancer, but at first it was just grandma panic. Yeah. It was like, oh my God, my baby's sick.
Dominic Lomax, Eileen's granddaughter, was just 26 years old when she was diagnosed with breast cancer after feeling a lump.
It is life or death. And I waited 1 year before I went and got checked out, knowing that I had this lump.
Dominic's advice is not to wait to get checked out because in that year of waiting, her tumor grew.
Like, this is so serious. This is not it. Like, this is the most serious thing that's ever happened to me in my life.
For her treatment, Dominique will have a lumpectomy, 17 rounds of chemo, and she's still going through 6 weeks of radiation. The hair loss, the mental and physical fatigue were the toughest part of her journey.
It has been hard, but it has been easy because of the support that I have and the love.
The Making Strides Walk is always a family affair, but this year it will be extra special.
I'm so ready to walk. I'm so excited. I'm ready to wear my all pink. And I'm like, yeah, we are about to have a really good time.
And Dominique will share her survivor story at this year's Making Strides event on Saturday, October 19th. For Buddy Check 6, I'm Reba Hollingsworth.
Remember that you have a chance to make a difference and make strides against breast cancer. Lace up your sneakers and walking shoes and come on out to Monroe Park this Saturday, October 19th. CBS 6 is proud to be a part of the annual walk. The mission is to support breast cancer survivors, warriors, caregivers, and to fund the critical research that will hopefully end breast cancer in our communities. Again, CBS 6 anchor Reba Hollingsworth will MC the event. You can join CBS 6 Community Team Reba. Scan the QR code on your screen to join Reba and the movement.
This segment is sponsored by OTL Behavioral Health.
We meet you where you are is the message OTL Behavioral Health wants to convey. They have counseling services and medication management available. Here to tell us more is the CEO and founder, Dr. Mark Richardson, and we welcome him to Virginia this morning.
Hey, how you doing?
It is a pleasure to be with you. The work that you do is incredibly important. And now more than ever, people are embracing the idea of getting the support that they need and having the right sort of professionals around them, surrounding them, and that's exactly what you do.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have a good time doing it. We have a great team of professionals, psychiatrists and therapists who do a wonderful job and are very compassionate about working with people towards positive life outcomes.
And you said, we meet you where you are. How did you land at that as your motto?
Well, we thought that telehealth would probably be the best thing for us, particularly coming out of the COVID era. And we want people to feel like they don't have to get in a car, take a bus, walk, fly, or anything like that to get to their mental health services. You can literally be on vacation and have an appointment with us. You can be in Puerto Vallarta and you have an appointment with us. You can still take that on your phone or on your computer. So we don't want people to miss out on their mental health services because they're not in town or because they can't make it to a office to get the services.
And that's comforting right there, to know that you are truly meeting them where they are, them where they are mentally, but also meeting them physically.
Absolutely.
And that's important. Now the services, you gave us a little bit, but I think there's far more we can talk about, the services that you offer.
Yeah, well, the psychiatric services, which is our medication management, we do that, telehealth as well. That's for people who just need a little medication to balance themselves out with their mental health needs. And then, of course, our therapy. Our counselors are well trained. They come from really, really strong backgrounds, and they want to help people, meeting them where they are. They want to, do an assessment on you, figure out what your needs are, whether small or big, and then we can take you from there and take you where you want to be.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so we talked about telehealth, but you can service people all over the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have clients all the way up to Alexandria, all the way up to Roanoke, all the way up to Dinwiddie, almost to the North Carolina line. If you have insurance here in Virginia, we can take care of you.
Insurance here in Virginia is a key piece of that, even though you may not be in Virginia while your appointment is going on. Now, for those who have Medicare and Medicaid, are they still eligible?
Absolutely, which makes us very unique. You know, there's a lot of psychiatric practices that don't take Medicaid, and we do. We take every form of insurance out of pocket as well as Medicaid. So if you are in that situation, we can take care of you. I think the big piece with Medicaid is that they don't always pay what the provider wants them to pay. So, but we overcome that because we understand that if you're on Medicaid, you may be in a different economic position in life, and that doesn't mean you don't deserve to get high quality care. And we want to make sure you get it regardless of where you are in life.
You know, you've said some key things. And meeting, it's so appropriate that we talk about meeting you where you are, mentally, physically, financially, to make sure that no matter what your circumstances may be, that we can service you and get you the support, the help, the love that you need throughout your journey. Thank you so much for what you're doing and letting us know, because not everyone takes all types of insurance. So this is key. This is key. We can't wait to learn more about your services. Thank you for what you do so much.
Thank you.
For more information on OTL Behavioral Health, give their team a call, 804-520-4600, or visit BeWellOTL.com. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Virginia This Morning.
Welcome back. It's time to introduce you to the founder of Richmond Really Sews. She's excited about the group's upcoming fun and funky fundraiser, and we're super jazzed to have a mini fashion show here in Virginia This Morning as a preview. All the models are wearing something they created themselves. We welcome Karen Keach-Swerling to our live show. Thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
I have really enjoyed learning more about your career. You had been a costume designer in Hollywood for so many years.
33.
Now you bring your creativity to Richmond.
Yes, yes. And I arrived in Richmond with my husband 8 years ago. I couldn't find anybody to sew with me. And so COVID happened, and then when COVID let up, I posted on Nextdoor, does anybody sew? I got 1,000 responses.
I love that. And now you have the group.
Richmond Really Sews.
Because of it.
Yes,
beautiful.
Richmond Really Sews.
So what is the group? There are people teaching others how to sew. There are people sewing together, and a little bit of everything.
Yes, it's a little bit of everything. We meet once a month, and we have some kind of speaker. And we also have my sewing center, and the Frocktails helps pay for getting the sewing machines repaired and keeping everything going. I have 30 machines, and then we give fabric to new people who want to sew.
Beautiful.
We just get them started.
You just keep that love of design and love of creativity going, which is fantastic. And Frocktails is a huge example of that.
Yes, and Frocktails is international. It's all around the world, and it means, usually what it means is you wear a frock. You show up in your frock and you get a cocktail.
Okay.
Okay, so
I'm in.
we do it differently. We make the frocks for you.
Love it.
And you show up and you get the cocktail.
That is perfect. And all of the models that we have here today have made their own creations.
Yes.
Let's get our fashion show started so we can see just some of the creativity and talent here in Richmond.
Well, this is Tanisha Finney, and this is the most beautiful jacket. It's a rain jacket. You won't believe it. It's from a shower curtain. Isn't it fabulous?
I would have had no idea that it's beautiful, and what better thing to wear when it's raining outside than that gorgeous color and happiness and vibrancy. Love it so much. Thank you.
This is Dina. She's one of our newer sewists, and she made this top.
Love it.
Now, the trick about this top is she used the cover stitch machine.
Okay.
Okay, so I try to challenge my sewists, and I put them on sergers.
Okay.
Which is an overlock machine. And so she overlocked this, So you can see these seams, see they're overlocked.
Look at that.
Yes, and Dina did this herself. And the stitches here, it's 2 lines of stitching, and then underneath the cover stitch machine then overlocks it. And that's what is on your t-shirts.
Love that so much.
So it's very professional looking.
Thank you,
Yes,
Dean. I love
thank
the
you,
purple
Dina.
for fall, too.
Yes.
Hello, come on. Yes.
This is Kelly, and she is a competitive roller skater.
Oh, I love that so much.
And she made this, and they put all these stones in, and she was going to wear her roller skates, but she wore those instead.
Well, I think it looks beautiful, and I can see how much you love it. So that's what
Yes.
makes it even prettier.
So Kelly and her skating partner, so they're Kelly and Melissa, Mel and Kel.
Okay, I love it.
And they are our active wear specialists. And Melissa is going to be teaching our serger classes in January.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Come on up.
This is Mariah, and she went to a Gatsby event.
I can tell, and Mariah, you felt the inspiration.
Beautiful. And we would love to show Caspi and her little son.
Here. You don't want to?
Oh, he doesn't want to come.
That's okay. We'll maybe take a picture and share on social media if that's okay.
We'll show a picture of him. But Mariah made this beautiful outfit, and I love this gold trim. It's just gorgeous. And there's little gold specks in this and velvet. It's just so beautiful. And little Caspian has Cass, you call him Cass. He has a vest that matches.
Which is perfect. The perfect +1 for any event, Gatsby or otherwise.
Yes.
Thank you for coming in today. Well, let's do our full look as we do at the end of fashion shows. We want to see everyone here showing their creations. And you just have to absolutely love that you've been able to bring this community together here in Richmond.
Well, I love it. And when I got 1,000 responses, my husband said, "What are you going to do with 1,000 people?" I said, "I'm going to bring Richmond together."
Yeah.
I'm going to bring the world together. And actually, we are international. Our group had 2,300 members at the moment, and people in Europe are in our group.
I love that so much.
And we come together in friendship, and we sew.
You come together in friendship, sew one frock at a time, which is lovely. And you can see everybody's unique personality and just the skill sets that you're sharing with everyone. Just what a wonderful skill to have. And you brought a lot of happiness to Richmond. Thank you so much for doing that.
You're very welcome.
Any other events that you have coming up besides Frock Tales that we have here?
Oh my God, well,
so many?
We are planning a trip back to New York. Last March, 13 of us went to New York.
Fun.
And we made friends with Elliott Berman Fabrics, and they sent us a big box of fabric for the show.
Okay.
62 pounds of fabric.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of fabrics from Europe, from Italy and France.
Pays to have a good friend in New York, just like that.
I know. So we're going to go back and visit them.
Which would be a wonderful thing to do. Well, thank you for bringing your skills to us today. We've thoroughly enjoyed learning more about what you do, and I know you will too. Richmond Frock Tales 2024 fundraiser presented by Richmond Really Sews. It is Saturday, November 2nd at Triple Crossing Beer, Fulton, 5203 Hatcher Street in Richmond. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. and then the show starts at 7. For more information, including tickets, just visit our show website at virginiathismorning.com. We've been cooking up fashion over here. Andreas, what's cooking over there in the kitchen right now?
Well, I'm here in the Virginia This Morning kitchen with private chef Gianna Stanley. Her delicious mushroom risotto is on today's menu, and I'm looking forward to making this and sampling some when we return from this quick break. Well, it's almost lunchtime, or at least second breakfast, and we've got a great option. Today's culinary expert is an on-camera host for a Richmond-based cooking show, a private chef, a cooking school chef instructor, and a community organizer.
She loves educating people on how to cook delicious foods that use local farm fresh ingredients, and mushroom risotto is on today's menu. We welcome Gianna Stanley into the Virginia This Morning kitchen. Thank you for bringing this today to the Virginia This Morning kitchen.
Thank you for having me here. I'm so excited to walk you through this mushroom risotto. It is the dish I've cooked for the longest time, and actually what brought that intimidation of cooking down for me, even though it seems to be, people when they talk about it, it is a more intimidating hands-on dish, but I just love to show how, you can make these elevated dishes at home. You can make it simple and flavorful.
You are making risotto accessible and a little less scary for folks at home today.
Yes. And we're doing it in a sustainable way. Tell us about how you incorporate sustainability into your work and into your dishes.
So I love the farmers markets here in Richmond, Virginia. In Virginia, the farming is really great. It actually is one of the reasons why I moved here and stayed here, is because you just have so much accessibility to local farm fresh goods. These mushrooms that I brought in today are from Schofield Farms, and I just got them at the big market. And there's farmers markets pretty much every day of the week. So you have access to farmers. And what I love about the farmers markets is that you can just go and ask them, what's the best mushroom that's going to go in this risotto? And I talked to the person who was at the farmers market, and he was like, these lion's mane mushrooms, they're going to have a lot of oil, they're going to absorb a lot, you probably don't want them in your risotto. So even a beginner cook can find out a lot and educate themselves really well by talking to farmers.
So you've got some sustainable ingredients that we just put in. Tell us about those.
So I have some shallots and then just garlic, both from local markets. I chopped them up at home beforehand, and that's just really going to help to lock in the flavor of our risotto. I've got my arborio rice here. This a little bit less sustainable. It's from, most arborio rice is grown in Italy, but there is a lot that is grown in the US. And the reason why we use arborio rice for risotto is because it has a really high starch content. So you can't really substitute it for a brown rice or a white rice. You're going to want to have this really, it's a very unique looking grain. Yeah. It's kind of rounded, it's short. And once your alliums, your shallots, your garlic have softened, you want to pour in your risotto and just really coat that oil.
And that starch, I would think, is what makes risotto so creamy.
Yes.
Which is delicious, and why we all love risotto.
And I have flirted with veganism over the years. I love vegan food. I am not vegan, but when I was dairy-free, risotto was so wonderful because of that creaminess. It felt just as comforting as a mac and cheese without the dairy. And of course, this will have dairy. We have some Parmesan cheese to finish it with, but you can make it without dairy. You can make it totally vegan. You can make it vegetarian. You can really adapt this recipe once you learn the technique.
Yes.
And so here I'm coating this rice. This is, we're moving on to step 4. So this is the white wine. It's going to help lock in that starch and just kind of coat the rice with it. I personally do not drink, I'm sober, but what I have heard is that you do not want to cook with wine you wouldn't drink.
That's what I've heard as well.
Yes.
It's a great rule to have.
So I had a very good friend try a couple and bring over this wine to me late last night so that I could cook with some.
So it has been endorsed, and it will leave that great flavor as the alcohol cooks off in the dish too.
You can smell all of the flavors coming together. Now, you poured a pretty generous portion in there. How do we determine how much?
So there will be a recipe posted with this video afterwards on your website, but it'll be 1 cup of risotto will go with about 1/2 cup of wine, and so that will help coat it. We want to let that kind of sizzle off a little bit before we add in our stock. Another way you can make this even more sustainable, because I love a low waste recipe, is you can take your mushroom stems, any non-edible part of a mushroom, and you can make stock with it. So I save all of my bones, whether I'm having barbecue or any chicken that I'm making at home, and I save them in my freezer. I save all of my peels from shallots that, you wouldn't want to eat this part, but it actually has a lot of nutrients in it, vitamin C, and you just put it together in a pot, and then you can freeze it, you can keep it in the refrigerator, and that's how I really make my dishes all very sustainable.
Bone broth this time of year too, when it's chilly outside, that makes for a great warm-up kind of a snack, and great if you're not feeling coffee, have a little broth, and it's wonderful.
Move this a little closer. So now's the time, now that the alcohol has cooked off, we're going to start to add in some stock. And this is when you kind of get into that low and slow cooking. We're gonna do some movie magic and actually switch out these pans. So after you get it started, pretend you've added a whole bunch of stock.
And you just keep stirring too. That's the key to risotto, correct?
Yes.
Requires a little patience.
A little bit of patience. And the beauty of it though is that when you are adding in whatever vegetable you're using, you can start to cook that while you're waiting for the rice to cook in and absorb the stock.
Now, about how long does it take to get from there to here?
I would say this is about 3 more rounds of adding stock.
Okay.
And so when you add stock, you want to make sure that you see a little bit of the liquid through the rice and wait for it to absorb. So you can kind of see here, it's like a little bit of a pool of rice. There's moisture there, and then that's where it kind of will sit for a couple of minutes. And that's when I would then start on my mushroom.
Those mushrooms,
right over here.
The magic in the pot.
Yes, and that's another thing I love about the farmer's market is that you can ask for different things. So this is a mixed batch of mushrooms. It's not just one type. I think that you can really add in a variety of texture, flavor, and even color, especially since so many mushrooms, when you chop them up, they look like rice.
And speaking of adding in, we just added in what looks to be such a sensational seasoning.
Would you like to smell it?
I would.
These, this is herbs de Provence. It is a mixture of, you've got savory, marjoram, basil, oregano, just a wonderful mix of different dried herbs. I personally love it. I find that the earthy flavors from those herbs really pair up well with the mushrooms. And what I'll do, and something I want to note for anyone making this at home, is that you want to avoid salting your risotto until the end. So usually when you're cooking pasta or rice, you salt the liquid that it's in so that it absorbs, but salt will actually lock in that starch and prevent it from getting creamy.
Gotcha.
And so you'll want to wait until you're almost done with the risotto to add in the salt. And I actually like to salt my filling, the mushrooms.
Put that flavor on all the ingredients.
Yes, and it really just creates a wonderful depth of flavor.
Well, I know that we're going to hang out with Gianna in the kitchen as we head to break, but you know, we're gonna stick around because we have those spoons ready to go.
That we do. Of course, if you'd like more information on Gianna Stanley, just visit Virginia This Morning later today. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Thanks for hanging with us today. We're in the kitchen with private chef Gianna Stanley.
We are now ready to try her mushroom risotto. You had been stirring and stirring before we went to break. Then you added the mushrooms to it, and now it is ready to try, which is so exciting for us.
And let's not forget the cheese on top.
Yes, the cheese adds a little nuttiness. I use Parmesan. This is, again, if you're vegan, this is something you can skip to make this a vegan meal, but I just personally love it.
All right, well, let's go ahead and dig on in. I'm gonna get a few different kinds of mushrooms here, I think.
Fabulous. Whoops.
So good. And it is so creamy without adding any kind of cream or milk to it, which is just wonderful about the arborio rice.
So delicious. All right, so this is your signature dish.
Yes.
but one of many dishes that you cook, especially on a show that is available right now to the Richmond, Virginia community.
Yes, so season 2 of Chef Adventure just premiered on Friday. We go to different RV agriculture markets. I interview farmers, I talk to them about the produce that they have, and then I take you back. In season 1, I take you back to my kitchen to show you the recipe, but in season 2, we're cooking live at the market. So it was really cool to get the live feedback of people trying the food I was making, because the feedback from season 1 was that everyone just wanted to dive into the screen.
Well, we're going to be at RVA Agriculture on the website so we can see season 1 and season 2, and we wish you the best.
Thank you so much for having me. This was such a delight.
Yes, thank you for coming in today, sharing your risotto with us. And thank you to all of our guests today, once again, including Private Chef Gianna Stanley, Karen Keach-Swerling and her models, the Epilepsy Foundation of Virginia, and Dr. Stacy Epps, and Sail Away Solutions, and of course, each and every one of you who joined us today.
Our live Tuesday edition of Virginia This Morning returns tomorrow at 8:56 a.m. We hope to see you there. In the meantime, enjoy